All right. All right, welcome this morning. So necessary, important, frontline. These are all ways that we can describe essential as in the businesses that are still open to protect and help us. Today's meeting with Extraordinary Minds is a group of incredible people that are on the front lines of this pandemic. These four are truly the definition of essential. As a doctor, a pharmacist, police, and a retail store, you know that they are out every day putting their own lives at risk to take care of our needs. I'm Stephanie Bohart, the Director of Business Success for Revolution Mortgage, and I want to introduce you to these amazing people that are out there risking their lives every day. So first, we're going to start off. We have Dr. Lisa Centilli. She's a family physician with Tidelands Health. Thanks for joining us, Lisa. I know you're in between patients, so we appreciate you hopping on with us.
Yes.
We have Dr. Kyle Phillips. He's a pharmacist here in Myrtle Beach and a pharmacy manager with CVS. We have Corporal Tom Vest, the Public Information Officer for the Myrtle Beach Police Department. Tom, you're in your car working hard out there, so thank you. And then we have Nora Mason. She is the Marketing Director for our Costco Wholesale here in Myrtle Beach. So thank you all so much for joining us. I really appreciate everything that you guys do for our community on an everyday basis, and particularly coming through this pandemic. So I just want to really kind of start off on a personal note with all of you. And I just want you to kind of tell me honestly, it was like how you are doing, how your family is doing. I know you don't have the luxury of being able to stay home and stay safe. So I'm actually going to throw this question over to Lisa first. I just want to see, how you're doing and how does your family take it when you leave for work every day, working with people on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so my husband and I are both physicians, so we are still going out and doing our jobs like normal. So we're trying to instill that sense in our children of normalcy, even though they're not going to school. But when we get home saying, don't run up and hug us, let us get out of these scrubs. And they're still getting, a lot of information from the news and what have you. But I think it's important too to not instill a lot of anxiety in children, since that's big right now, and to try to keep children, let this be a time where we can stress out about it, but not so much them, but keeping them safe. So still keeping, don't drink out of my glass at home, and let me change out of my scrubs, take a shower, but trying to, like I said, keep it as anxiety free as I'm worrying about everything, not so much them.
Yeah, I mean I can relate to that. I have a 6-year-old that's constantly telling me, well, when this is over and when the virus is gone, and so I mean she understands to a level, but we try to keep day to day as much as normal. Obviously it's not normal being home.
Yeah, they're picking up on a lot more than you think. Right. So, even the other day, my middle child was like, don't touch that, you're going to get COVID, or don't touch that, you're going to get COVID-19. It's like, they hear so much stuff. So I'm trying to just keep it a little bit lighthearted at home. And then, my husband and I can share our concerns in private, but, still trying to tell them, you don't have to go around hugging everybody anymore, So, and even I think it's going to change society. It's used to be everybody gets a handshake, and that was almost the standard greeting. So will this change the trajectory of society? I think perhaps, even somebody went to go shake my hand yesterday, and I was like, oh wow, he's really bold there with the handshake. So I think this is going to be a huge shift in the way we view societal norms. So
yeah, I think you're 100% correct. Kyle, what's your take on this? Like, how is it, obviously changing how you're, going about your day and coming home, especially like Lisa was saying?
So very similarly, we really try and keep that all business as usual. My wife is a pharmacist as well. And she was lucky enough about a year and a half ago to leave the retail sector for the most part anyways, and work from home, doing a lot of work with like CMRs and Medicare patients. But now with all this evolving, having the kids home, number one, makes it much harder for her to be able to do anything like that because there's so much privacy you're going to get. And also just as staffing becomes an issue in the stores because we're taking precautions just like everyone else. So, as staff would have to isolate and call it, as they do happen to get sick, and we take those precautions to make sure it's not with COVID or anything else. And so she's actually gone back into the stores helping out a lot. So it's hard because we're back to kind of working opposites, which most people with young kids are familiar with that anyways. But yeah, we just kind of keep it business as usual on the way out. But yeah, it's like disrobing in the garage and getting a shower in the back bedroom before we really ever come into the living space to say I'm home, just because the kids will run up and hug you.
Yeah.
So it's just, that little shift. But I think, like Lisa said too, it's just kind of hard watching it shift and what the kids pick up on. We were watching Spies in Disguise with the kids one day, and the guy got a high five from, his role model or whatever. And his friend was like, "Oh, don't wash that hand ever." And Cooper just goes, he's like, "They must not know about the virus." Like,
Yeah.
it's hard. I mean, it's sad that that's their reality. That's, I think, what bothers me most about this, because I don't want to have my kids be, picking up all the same stressors that we're dealing with as adults. But yeah, they pick up on it. So, our daily life has just kind of become passing ships a little bit right now because we're both going out into the stores. But yeah, just trying to take the same precautions to keep our kids safe.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, it's great to hear. Tom, I'm sure your family, I mean, they, have some concern obviously on an everyday basis when you walk out the door in the line of work that you're in, but obviously now, and that's without all this added health risk. So how are you coping with it?
We're doing well. I mean, not only myself, but the other officers here are doing well with it. I mean, like you said, it's an inherently risky job, and we all know that. This is a bit different because, like everybody else has said, you have to take the shoes off, take the uniforms off, because the kids want to come up and hug you. And obviously, we're stressed out because this is it's a new thing. There's a lot of uncertainty here, and we're all working through it day by day, just like everybody else is. But it's a challenge for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then Nora, I mean, you have thousands of people coming through your doors every day. So just walking through them, I mean, you're putting yourself at risk. And I just want to see, how you are personally doing with it, and then, kind of take on how your employees are holding up.
Right. Well, I've actually had to kind of change my behaviors too. And so before I leave the house in the morning, I start with my precautions, and I take a 1-a-day vitamin, the elderberry syrup, a vitamin C chew, drink some orange juice, and just doing everything I can to try to help my immune system. And while I'm at work, I certainly use all the PPEs that are available to me. And we remind all of our employees about that as well. And just like the others, as soon as I get home, first thing I do is in the garage, I Lysol my shoes, and then the clothes have to come off into the wash. I scrub down, have to wash the hair before I'm allowed to touch anything in the house. And I don't have kids at home, but it's just to keep my husband safe. So it's my daughter lives close by, but she won't even come by to visit just because she knows how many people I'm around, and we just have to keep everybody safe.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's one of those crazy things. It was like, we all think, about the healthcare, and being in the hospital. And that is, I mean, the place where you're getting the most exposure, but with all the people that maybe don't know that they're carrying something like that, in the stores, that's the, the secondary level that you're seeing it, where so many people are coming in contact with it. So we really appreciate you guys really all still going to work every day and doing what you're doing to keep yourselves safe. So I wanted to ask, I'm going to get all of your perspectives on this, but I mean, we talked about this a little bit, but inside your job, like, how is this changing the way you're doing things? Some extra precautions that you're taking, what is your business, stepping up to protect you and your coworkers? And I'm going to see, Kyle, if you wanted to take that one first.
Yeah, sure. So, getting your hands on PPE in general, whether that be face masks, gloves, even just normal sanitizing products, because of just the way society reacted to all this, has been a challenge in and of itself. But, like you said, I work for CVS, but they've been good about trying to push that equipment out to us. And that keeps evolving. Like, you'll see all staff in at least masks temporarily or currently going forward. And that's, a company mandate at this point, which is good just to get everybody on the same page. And, there's two sides to it. One would be worrying about kind of creating hysteria for some patients, because, some get a good bit of anxiety around that. But I think now that it's become a general recommendation, you see more and more, we're just all on the same page, and that helps take away some of that anxiety. They put in, measures for the distancing with you'll see on the floors, the, tape marcating the 6 feet. There's plexiglass shields that are going in to help, I think at a couple of different places where you'll see registers and handoffs to reduce that. Even working with a lot of the third parties, they've done what they can to try and reduce the amount of signatures that you normally have to sign for your prescriptions. A lot of that, they work with the companies to get that waived, so there's less handoff there. And they've reduced prompts. So anything they've done to try and reduce the number of buttons you have to push, pens you have to share. We're obviously trying to get as few paper prescriptions as possible. Much less welcoming to see someone bring in their bottle for a refill, like, just read me the number, please. I'd be glad to do it. So we're just taking the precautions and a lot of cleaning, at the very least every hour on the hour, but usually more frequently than that. And, because within certain workspaces within my employees, it's not possible to really get a 6 foot distance. So we're just doing what we can. And by having us all masked up, that's gonna, help with that as well.
For sure, yes.
I'm getting called out.
You're good. Okay.
I can answer this last one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, we have a lot different precautions. Obviously now patients will have these masks, and it's, I think, important. I see a lot of people that just kind of put it here and don't cover their nose. So it's important to cover your nose with it, and have the white part against, and there's a hard part that should be over your nose. So we have masks for patients, and then I have an N95 and a mask too. So that's kind of different too, having, different, not seeing a whole patient's face. So that's been different. And, we're trying to limit how many people are in our waiting room. If anybody has signs of COVID, we have testing tents outside, so they never actually come into the facility. So that's been different. We have scanning stations right outside, so your temperature is taken and before you even get in. So that's different as well. So it's been a huge shift. We've decreased the volume, so patients are kind of more staggered, less, human interaction in general. So it's a huge shift, because I'm used to, my patients coming up and hugging me, and it's a lot different. So it's hard to get used to. But
I imagine as a family care physician, you're the ones that you see them often. So you get to know them, you have such a relationship. It's not like the ER where they're kind of coming and going and you have that standoff. What, before you run out, and I appreciate you in between patients here, could you just kind of give us a little bit of like what your patients are saying to you, what their concerns are, and then if you have any advice for, our general public on kind of precautions that they should be making, or, why it's important for them to be staying home?
Yes, I think, so a lot of patients are coming in and they want to be tested. So the first thing to remember is to be tested, you have to be right now, that it'll probably change, exhibiting symptoms. We're especially testing if there's been travel or contact with a COVID positive patient. And the biggest thing, if you think that you do have it, is we recommend, obviously just staying home or going to the testing tents that are outside. Another thing would be that I'm getting asked a lot is not everything you see in the news we can do. Somebody was asking me for immunology testing, and I don't have that. That's some of the things you hear about, or vitamin C IV therapy, I don't have that either. So some things are just not possible for me to get. If you're used to always getting a Z-Pack for something, azithromycin or a Z-Pack is being reserved right now. I'm not writing that for anybody unless you're, COVID-19 positive. So same thing with other medications that we're just reserving for certain patients. So that's another switch that's being seen. And a lot of patients are just coming in or calling in rather, just wondering how long it's going to last. And the answer to that is we just don't know. So, and only time will really tell. So we will see. We're projecting, another 3 weeks. I know New York thinks that they're kind of in their peak right now. So that's hopeful that they should be on the downward slope. So that gives us some hope. So hopefully, and I think we've been fortunate in Myrtle Beach to not have it as, horrible as other areas. If you do have comorbid conditions, you are more susceptible. So that's been also another question I've been getting. So that is true also. So be more on guard if you've had, pre-existing lung conditions or hypertension, or also if minority populations have been hitting a little harder, and obviously elderly, immunocompromised. So if you're those populations, you just have to be a little more careful too. But I think in general, the public has been more kind of aware of these things as time's gone on. So
And you're seeing a little
not to
bit
be
more
too
caution.
scared either.
Yeah, that's good. Is being able to be aware and get out, but not to panic, which is always a
Yes,
good thing.
yes.
So. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you have to hop out, we understand, but we really
Yes.
appreciate you hopping on.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes.
All right, well, Nora, I wanted you to kind of go back to the question about, the extra precautions that you guys are making. I mean, we've all been in Costco and kind of seen some of the changes, and I know they're evolving every day, but if you want to elaborate on kind of what you guys are doing to help protect your customers and your employees.
Yeah, absolutely. It starts from the very beginning even before you get into the store. We have employees that are outside sanitizing the handles to the carts. So we're helping to keep our members safe and not sharing the germs that way. We have limited it to just 2 people per membership. They can come in at a time to help with the social distancing. We take that very serious because we don't want people to get too close together. If you are trying to just come in really quick to grab one item, we still want you to take a shopping cart to help with that barrier to keep that at least that couple of feet away from other people coming towards you or you going towards them. We have Clorox wipes available at the door as well if somebody needed that for something. There's signs all over the store reminding our members about the social distancing. We've taken out a lot of the things that you would normally see with Costco, such as food sampling. That was the very first thing that came down. All of a sudden, we're like, what do you mean we're not doing samples today? And because our warehouse, our corporate office is in Issaquah, Washington, which is that Kirkland area. And so they really had some of that first things happening in the US. And so everybody immediately reacted company-wide across the US. And so we're learning and we're evolving every single day. There's more and more precautions that are coming out. We try to form lines outside. We keep everybody at a distance in the morning. If people are waiting to get in to buy those hot items, we try to make it as easy as possible to get them in and out. Our registers, we only open every other register unless there's just getting a little backed up. We'll try to pop open a couple of others, but we can ring you up at the optical department. We can ring you a hearing aid. We have just side registers that we're able to sort of filter people through a little bit more quickly. If you come through, you'll see the plexiglass shields. That's another thing we did right away. We added those plexiglass shields, but again, we're evolving. And so we've just ordered a whole bunch more plexiglass, and we're going to be plexiglassing in the entire side where the member is standing versus the employee. So the conveyor belt and where your items are on the other end. The entire thing is going to be plexiglass, and we're adding those extra precautions in all of the areas where the members are interacting with the employees. In addition to that, we provide the gloves for the employees throughout their shifts that they can use. We've started providing the courtesy face masks for them. And a lot of the employees have already started bringing in their own, but just reminding them not to touch their face, make sure you're washing your mask. It's not going to keep you from getting sick, but it certainly can help sharing things like that. We separate our employees in the break room even. They're not allowed to sit together anymore. They have to stay the distance as well. They have to sanitize their tables when they get up and leave. And we've added plexiglass barriers in the bathrooms. So when you go to wash your hands, you're separated by plexiglass between every single station to wash your hands as well. So we're just doing everything we can to try to take it up a step to help limit the interaction and the closeness together with members or for employees. We're trying to keep everyone safe.
Wow, that's great. I mean, those are even some that I didn't even think about. And clearly, when I've been in, I've only came once actually, and it was a quick trip for toilet paper. But that's, I mean, so amazing to be able to protect your, you're taking a lot of precautions to protect your employees and the guests. So the experience is great when you need to come in.
We've started employee screening as well, health screenings and temperature checks as needed. With the temperature, we have the thermometers that are no touch, which is great, so that we'll have that ability to just look for that. We've also, anybody that was 65 and over, any of our employees, we've asked them if they'd like to stay out of work during this time, and they're getting paid. So they're not having to use any of their personal or their vacation time, which has been a real help for them to feel comfortable that they're not being, their position's not in any type of jeopardy, or they're not having to use their personal time. And then also employees with compromised immune systems or pregnancy, if their doctor gives them a note saying that it's recommended for them not to be, for whatever those underlying conditions might be, we're taking care of them as well. And we're just extending that leave as long as this is going to go on and is necessary. We've added a $2 premium to all of our employees that continue working this time. So they're getting that added to their paychecks as well. So they're pretty excited.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to be out there and doing that, they definitely deserve that. And all the extra precautions you're taking, I mean, it's just keeping them safe. That's fantastic. Tom, I know you're working with the community and you're hearing from the community a lot. What are some of the officers telling you that the community is asking? What are some of the major concerns that you guys are hearing, either from the officers you work with or the public?
I think it's really important to know. I mean, we're experiencing this just like everybody else. I mean, our officers also live here and work here and shop here, so we're experiencing this with everyone else. One of the differences is, just like everyone else in this panel, we have to continue to be in the community, and we have to continue to do our jobs, which doesn't always give us the ability to socially distance. A lot of the community members are wanting clarification on orders and how things are working, what they need to know. And a lot of that stuff is available on our website. It's available on the city's website, and the South Carolina Emergency Management Division also has that.
Yeah, that's good. I was like, I'm sure that they're, out there and trying to figure out, like, do you feel like the public is responding positively to the stay and work at home orders that the governor has put in place? And are you still finding a lot of people out trying to congregate, not quite understanding?
There are still people out, but the majority of people are doing exactly what they should be. They're socially distancing. If they're out, they're exercising and they're staying away from others. And a lot of people are staying home, and it's very encouraging to see that. The other thing that's great to see is the acts of kindness and the support that the community is giving each other. I mean, that's really something special about this community, and we appreciate seeing it. It helps us get through it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see every day someone's feeding someone or helping community members, or, setting up a donation fund for those who have lost their jobs, or, kind of working through. So it's truly kind of banding together, which is fantastic. I agree with that. Kyle, I wanted to ask you, what is something you just wish the residents or your patients knew and would follow in regards to the importance of the stay-at-home orders or coming into the pharmacy? What are some do's and don'ts, especially, regarding to coming to the pharmacy?
Yeah. So we've tried to incentivize as much as possible, limiting those trips to the pharmacy. For example, my company right now is they're offering free delivery. So, and that's huge, right? And we can have it to you. It's a 1 to 2 day thing. Most of the time it's 1 day, given we have a pretty small area around here in Myrtle Beach that goes out, it's probably going to come to you the next day. But, I think it's changing a little bit. We're seeing finally a downtick in foot traffic, which is kind of counterintuitive to say as a business. Like, thank God we're seeing less foot traffic finally, but there are finally starting to be some less people in the stores, because what was concerning to me is the people I was still seeing in my store were like the exact ones I would not want to see. That, the more at-risk populations, if you're talking just in terms of age, because it does hit, the elderly harder, but they're still the ones that I would see lined up in the stores every day. And just, I'm concerned for them just as our patients. So, utilize any of those tools that are there for you. Like I said, we do free delivery right now. Use the drive-through if it's something acute or you need to come now. Think ahead. Call it in a day or two ahead, just so that it's there. You can have the shortest possible trip when you do get there. To minimize your time out and that you're exposed, and you can't even take advantage of that delivery if you choose to do that. And outside of that, just the biggest thing I've seen is when we see people misusing PPE, and it's driving me kind of bonkers when you see people slap on a pair of gloves and just wear them like they think it's a shield, and it's not. And I think the grossest misuse I'd seen was, like, I had one person that was using a public restroom, and I was kind of waiting in line, and I heard the water running and the hand dryer going, and I was like, okay. And they come out with their gloves on. So, which means they left their gloves on to use the restroom and then decided to wash and attempt to dry those gloves. And that's not how it works. When used properly, gloves are going to be changed in between patients. It's to stop cross-contamination of that sort of thing. Like when we glove up, if we're giving you an immunization, that's to protect both of us. And then obviously they're changed. If we didn't change those gloves all day in between patients, doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's kind of when we see people just putting on a pair of gloves, touching everything, touching their phone still, touching their face, but they take the gloves off and they throw them in the parking lot. And it's just kind of a gross misuse and a waste of valuable resources right now. So just proper hand washing, use of sanitizer, and as much, forward planning as you can do to try and minimize your time if you're going to have to come into the pharmacies. Because you have to realize is, the social distancing works, but it works if we all do it. And as these businesses continue to close and there are fewer remained open, that's where people are going to congregate. If you try and compare it, I almost want to say mice first, but let's not compare people to mice, or I'll get some hate or something. Puppies. You put 100 puppies in a room, right? And 10 of them are sick. And let's say you put 10 food bowls around the room. Okay, you've got a 1 in 10 chance, as it is right there, that one of those spots are going to be interacting. Take half of those food bowls out of the room. You just doubled that, because those puppies are still going to want to go get food, but they have less options. And as that continues to happen and you remove those food bowls, your chances of running into, another sick individual are going to go up, unless everybody does what they're supposed to and stays home. Yeah. So, you just got to kind of think of it that way too. As businesses continue to close and there are fewer destinations for people for essential goods, we all need to use as much precaution as we can.
Yeah. Well, and I can understand that. It's like, or especially in the beginning, it's like, I was like, Kyle's my pharmacist. So I go to him for advice. Like, okay, I'm feeling this. Like, instead of going straight to my doctor, it's like, oh, well, you just need some allergy medicine, or you just need this. And people are used to that. So not trying to utilize, the tele docs and, kind of working through that if you can, or a lot of times, the pollen that's out there really bad, just work through that and not waiting till you're down to your last pill. Like I am.
I know. Don't do like that. Is the equivalent of waiting until you are out of gas on the side of the road. And then you need to call AAA. You just fill up before you're out. Yeah. Please.
I'm the worst example. And that every time he's like, are you going to come get your prescription? I was like, yes, I'm coming.
Yeah. And utilize, develop a relationship with your pharmacist, whoever. We're here to help. And utilize as much of the automation as possible right now too. Like, because the other thing is as the foot traffic decreases, our phones are ringing off the hook. So please just be patient, because we're going to get to you as quickly as we can. But like, our call volume is going through the roof, because, and part of that might be too, some of our population around here, you know, just the demographics. We do have a lot of elderly that may not be as familiar with some of the technology to use to, you know, cut down that phone time or whatnot. So we're taking a lot of phone calls and trying to help, you know, in any way we can, but please be patient with us.
Yeah. Yes. Don't use me as an example. Nora, I wanted to ask you, I know when we talked, you guys have changed a lot of your hours. You've changed a lot of different things to kind of help all different demographics of our area and job types and stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure that you had some time to talk about some initiatives that you guys have going on over at Costco.
Sure. I'd love to go over the hours with you, and they get a little bit confusing because different days have different times. On Mondays and Fridays, we still open at our regular time at 10 o'clock. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have reserved from 8 to 9 a.m. for seniors, but we've also now added first responders and healthcare workers. So if they bring their identification showing of their job description or their ID from their job, along with their membership card, we are going to move them to the front of the line if there's a line out front waiting to get into the store, because we want them to be able to get in and get out and get back to doing the things that they need to protect our community. And that's our way of saying thank you for helping all of us out. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 to 9. And then if depending on how many people are still waiting to get in, then we'll open up the store, you know, somewhere in that 9:15, 9:30 for everybody. On Saturdays, we regular time 9:30 to 7. Sunday is regular time 10 to 6. The other thing that has changed is that we're closing earlier Monday through Friday. So we close at 6:30 p.m., which we usually stay open until 8:30, but we're closing at 6:30 p.m. every night. We're just not seeing that much traffic in the evenings, and let's just get people in and get them out, you know, in the morning when they're trying to come anyways. In addition to that, the gas station is now open 7 days a week at 6 a.m. And that's to help any of those that are needing to get to places that they need to. So we'll have that gas available to them.
Those extra hours are so great. And I'm sure your employees really appreciate, you know, the early out, because, you know, they're working so hard and, you know, getting there early. So being able to get home and spend some time with their families is important for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you guys all taking time. I know you're all very busy. And you know, as we start to wrap up here, I wanted to see, you know, just kind of some last minute advice that you have for our community that you just feel like is important for you to share. And I wanted to let you, Tom, go ahead and go first and just kind of put out some public information for us or some advice that you want to make sure people really understand.
We just want to say, please continue to do exactly what the governor's office says, what our city council has asked. Stay inside, socially distance if you have to go out. It's really important that we all do it together. I mean, everybody on here said the same thing, that this is something we all have to do together. We have an online reporting system available, so you can submit reports online if they're not in progress and they're not going on right now. And if you need the police, we are still out. We're still patrolling, so you can still call for us, and we'll still come and help you. But we're all in this together, and it's going to take all of us to get through it.
For sure. And we really appreciate you guys being out there. I mean, working with our public every day still. I mean, I know that you guys, I mean, what you said earlier, you cannot social distance in all situations when you're working with the public like you guys do. So we appreciate your oath and everything that you've done to protect us. Kyle, last minute thoughts?
No, just, you know, same as what Tom said there. Like, you know, we're having some good results. So please just keep, you know, stay the course, right? To throw it back, just everybody, please keep social distancing, and, you know, you can still live your life at home. I mean, some trips we got to make, but utilize what you can to, you know, whether that be delivery services, just again, those limited hours. You know, we have special hours that we're rolling out for immunocompromised patients to come and shop as well. So just use the tools that are there to make this as, you know, successful as possible. I don't want to say enjoyable. It's not. It's a huge change for all of us, but you know, there are tools there to make it easier. So just utilize them. Stay home.
Stay home. Very good.
Hey,
Go ahead, Nora.
I had a good point with the delivery service. We utilize Instacart as a partner through Costco. You can go online and order through Instacart and get your items delivered to you. That's a huge help. We've seen such an increase in business with Instacart, but those also, they can come in at 6 a.m. so they can get your orders to you very early in the morning. We, you know, as much as we love the business, we really don't want people coming into the building and taking up the space in there. Just, you know, leave your family at home, one person come in. We've actually, we're tighter on the government restriction. There's the governor said 5 per 1,000 square feet. We're actually doing 4 people per 1,000 square feet, and we'll hold the line if we have to, and we'll make people wait outside. We really don't want to do that, but we're going to keep people safe. So that's another option, is use Instacart and get your items delivered to you, and that just lessens the foot traffic and where we have to social distance inside the store.
Yeah. I mean, those are all great things. I mean, I know I've utilized a lot of delivery that I'm, you know, usually wouldn't have. I'm a person, I like to go to the store. I like to see stuff. I like to touch stuff. I like to feel it. Things are going to change because you don't, you know, that's putting yourself at risk. I've not let my kids go into a store, and you think about that stuff. Well, you know, especially kids. I was like, I've seen a couple of kids in the stores, and it makes you nervous because you know what kids do. They touch everything. They look at everything, and then innately their hands go to their face and into their mouth, and you're like, oh my, you know, I walked through the store, instead of gloves, I held on to a Clorox wipe because I felt like, okay, if I hold my Clorox wipe, I wipe things down, I keep it, you know, that way then, and not touching anything, throw that away and Purell up when you get in the car. So, well, honestly, I really am grateful to all of you and Dr. Centilli for joining us today. You are out there, you've taken an oath to serve and care and help our area, and we super appreciate it. And your selflessness as individuals does not go unnoticed. So I just want to make sure that you all know that we personally thank you all and your coworkers and everyone that's in our community working to keep us safe and moving forward and running as not normal, but as normal as possible. So I just want to thank you for your advice and hope that this has all been helpful to our listeners and our viewers to get a little extra feedback on why it is important to follow those stay-at-home and work orders to keep you and your family safe. And we'll hopefully get this pandemic over quicker if we all, you know, chip in and do this and follow the orders as much as possible. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but I want to make sure everyone knows that our next meeting with Extraordinary Minds will be Tuesday, April 14th, and we're going to be giving a real estate update and letting you know how things are moving forward in that area. And we hope that everyone's enjoying this. And again, if you have any suggestions on a meeting Extraordinary Minds that you would like us to cover, please don't hesitate to comment. So thank you all again. You guys have a great day and be safe out there.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.